So think about that skill you have, that thing you're really passionate about, maybe knowledge you've just picked up over the years. Ever thought, how can I make this work for me?
Right, because there's this quote from Robert Kiyosaki about the book we're diving into today, Expert Secrets. He says it's the map that will allow you to turn your specialized knowledge, talents, and abilities into a business that will work for you.
Yeah. One of the shortcuts of the new rich, he calls it.
Exactly. So today, it's all about Russell Brunson's Expert Secrets.
Mhm.
And this isn't just theory. I mean, he gives a really practical step-by-step approach.
Uh-huh. For becoming like a thought leader,
Right,
building an audience that actually pays for your advice.
precisely. He wants to help you build that following, get people to invest in what you know.
And what I found interesting is he's not just talking to people who already think they're gurus, right? He says you can start from where you are with what you already know.
Absolutely. Even if you're, not feeling super confident about it yet.
So our mission here, for you listening, is really to pull out the core stuff from Expert Secrets.
Yeah, the actionable bits. How can you take what you know and maybe, just maybe, build something real around it? We want to avoid that information overload feeling.
Okay. And Brunson covers a lot concepts, scripts, even text stuff.
Yeah.
But it all points back to leveraging your expertise into a business. So where does he say this journey actually begins?
Well, he kicks off with a really fundamental idea. It's less about just personal growth for you
Hmm.
and more about shifting focus to contribution, helping others.
Okay.
He argues that your message, your unique knowledge, it genuinely has the power to change lives, like save marriages, improve health, grow businesses. Huge potential impact.
But only if you can get it to the right people. Yeah. That's the catch.
That's the key. You've got to connect. And he wants you, the listener, to think right now, what impact could your knowledge have?
That's a good question. He shares his own story too, doesn't he? About trying to make money online early on.
Oh, yeah. eBay, Craigslist, affiliate marketing. He says he tried a bunch of things that just didn't really work out.
Until the potato gun thing.
Huh? Yeah. The potato gun expert. It's kind of a funny example, but it shows expertise can pop up in unexpected places.
Right. It wasn't some grand plan.
Not at all. But he found an audience, and crucially, he started figuring out how to connect with them, how to sell. And that's where he began piecing together this expert secret system.
So it wasn't instant success. He studied other experts.
Loads of them. Promoted their stuff, watched what worked, what didn't. He says he got obsessed with understanding why people buy things. Lots of trial and error.
And the reward for all that, according to him, is it just the money?
Well, that's part of it,
Yeah.
obviously, but he really emphasizes the fulfillment. Seeing someone use your advice to lose weight or do better in school or fix their marriage or, grow their company, that's the real payoff.
Okay, so helping people. But then he talks about building a mass movement. That sounds ambitious.
It does. But his approach is interesting. He apparently studied, like, historical figures, even mentions Hitler and Jesus Christ people who built massive followings.
Wow, okay. Bold comparisons.
Definitely. But he was looking for common elements, and he
Hmm.
found three things they all seem to do.
That makes you curious. And he thinks anyone with expertise can do this, even if you don't feel like a leader.
Yeah, he suggests that if you have that internal drive to serve, to help people with what you know, that's the starting point. The leadership part can develop.
Okay, but what about that feeling? That I'm not qualified feeling. I bet a lot of listeners feel that. I don't have the certificate or the degree.
Oh, totally. Brunson hits that head on. The I'm not certified objection, it's super common.
So what's his take? Just ignore it.
Pretty much. He talks about getting paid, like, serious money, 25K, 100K for his knowledge, and people asking about his credentials.
And he doesn't have like a formal marketing degree for everything he teaches.
Right. His point is, people paying him that much weren't focused on a piece of paper. They wanted the results he could help them get.
He mentions Tony Robbins too, right? Getting kicked out of some program.
Yeah, for practicing something NLP, I think, without being certified. But Brunson's point is, look how many millions of lives Robbins impacted anyway.
So the takeaway is,
Your results are your certification. If you can genuinely help people achieve something, that's what matters. He wants you to feel like you can start helping now.
okay, hey, that's empowering. So let's say you're feeling that, you're ready to share. How do you find the right people? Your audience.
Right. This is where he gets into finding your niche, or really niches within niches.
Okay, break that down. He starts with big category.
Yeah, three core markets, he calls them: health, wealth, and relationships. Most expert businesses fall into one of those. He asks you to think, Where does your expertise fit?
Health, wealth, relationships. Got it. But just saying I'm in wealth is too broad, isn't it?
Way too broad. Even going one level deeper, like a submarket, say, diet within health or real estate investing within wealth. He argues that's still often not enough.
Not specific enough to really stand out.
Exactly. The real magic, the riches, as he puts it, happens when you find a specific niche within that submarket, one step further down.
So, like, not just diet coach, but maybe keto diet coach for women over 40? Something like that.
Precisely, getting really specific. And how do you find it? He says, look the other experts in your submarket. What are they doing? What are they not doing?
Analyze the ecosystem, basically.
Or don't try to just copy them or compete directly. Find what makes your angle different, special. How can you complement what's already out there? He even suggests they could become partners if you find that unique space.
Okay, finding the niche. Then you need people to actually follow you. He talks about becoming a charismatic leader. How does that work?
Yeah, he uses a quote from Jay Abraham. People are silently begging to be led. So Brunson gives some rules for becoming that person for your audience.
Rule number 1.
Be an attractive character. This ties back to his other book, .com Secrets. It means sharing your story, including your struggles and flaws, not just the highlights.
So people can relate.
Exactly. And ideally, you embody the kind of outcome they want. Crucially, you've been where they are now, and you've made the journey they want to make.
Makes sense. Rule 2.
Maintain absolute certainty. And he makes a distinction here. It's not just like basic self-confidence.
What's the difference?
He quotes a friend saying self-confidence is for kids. Brunson argues certainty is what really draws people in, this deep conviction in your message.
And where does that certainty come from? You just decide to be certain.
Not quite.
No.
It comes from sharing your message a lot.
Yeah.
Putting it out there, podcasts, social media, writing, whatever. You see what connects, you refine it, you get clearer yourself. Consistency builds that certainty over time.
Got it. And rule 3.
Don't be boring.
Yeah.
Sounds obvious, but he says too many experts are just dull. You need to fascinate your audience.
How do you measure that? Fascination.
Well, he uses this idea called the prolific index. Imagine a spectrum. In the middle is mainstream, safe, common knowledge, kind of boring, probably not making much money.
Okay.
On the ends are the crazy zones, really out there ideas. They might get attention, but maybe not paying customers.
Yeah.
Think like weird documentaries. Interesting, but not a business model usually.
So you don't want to be bland, but you don't want to be totally off the wall either.
That's the idea. The sweet spot is somewhere in between, where you have a clear point of view, maybe even create some polarity. Some people love it, some might disagree. That, he says, attracts attention and paying customers who resonate strongly. Neutrality is just forgettable.
Thoughtful polarity, maybe?
Yeah, something like that. But be prepared. Not everyone might like it. Now, once you have that audience, that following,
Yeah.
the money question comes up. Getting paid.
Right. And some people feel weird about charging for helping others, don't they?
Definitely. Brunson tackles that guilt head on.
Yeah.
He argues it's not just okay to get paid, it's actually essential for your audience's success that they do pay you.
Why? How does that help them?
Two main reasons he gives. First, those who pay attention. Simple as that.
Ah, the skin in the game idea.
Exactly. He tells a story about letting friends sit in on expensive workshops for free. They rarely did anything with the info. The people who paid thousands, they took action.
Okay, that makes sense. And the second reason?
It's sort of implied, but it's about perceived value. When money changes hands, it signals that what you offer is valuable. It validates the exchange for both sides.
Right. So paying creates commitment and signals value. Now, how do you keep this audience united, inspired? He talks about a vision, right?
Yes, creating a compelling vision for your movement. He mentions how a quote from Gary Halbert, something like, "You're only one sales letter away from striking it rich," gave him immense hope early on.
Just one sentence.
Yeah, painted a picture of possibility. Then he talks about the 4-minute mile concept.
It's like Roger Bannister breaking the running record.
Exactly. For Brunson, his 4-minute mile moment was learning about John Reese making $1 million online in just 18 hours. At the time, Brunson was struggling to make much less per month. Seeing that completely shattered his limiting beliefs about what was possible.
So it sets a new standard.
Right.
Yeah.
And that led him to create the 2 Comma Club for ClickFunnels users, people who've made at least $1 million through one funnel.
Mm-hmm.
It shows others in the community, look, it can be done.
So for the listener, the actionable step is,
Think about what the 4-minute mile is for your audience. What's an initial achievable result you've already gotten that you can share to give them hope and belief?
Okay, a vision, a possibility. What about making people feel like they belong to this movement? Building a tribe.
Yeah, that's huge. He tells this great little story about someone keeping their ClickFunnels subscription going even when they weren't using it much,
Right.
just for the Funnel Hacker t-shirt. They felt part of that identity, that community.
That's powerful. A
Right.
t-shirt.
It showed them the importance of shared identity. Later, they let members vote on slogans, and the winner was super simple. I build funnels. It became a badge of honor, a way to connect.
So creating symbols or ways for people to identify. What else?
He talks about a title of liberty, like a short statement of your core values, and then expanding that into a full manifesto.
Like Jerry Maguire, the things we think and do not say.
Kind of. For his Funnel Hacker Manifesto, he identified things he thought were wrong in their industry, like issues with venture capital, and created this set of beliefs his tribe could rally around. It creates a clear us versus them dynamic, which can be very powerful for community building.
Okay, vision tribe. Now, the core offering. How do you actually present your expertise? You said it's not just about improvement.
Right, this is a really critical distinction Brunson makes. He says the most successful movements offer a new opportunity, not just an improvement on what people are already doing.
Why don't improvement offers work as well? Like, here's a slightly better way to do the diet you're already on.
He gives a couple of reasons. One is status reversal. People worry that if they try the improvement and it doesn't work, they'll look stupid, especially if they've invested in the old way. It feels risky to their current standing.
Makes sense.
The other is the pain of disconnect. To accept an improvement, you kind of have to admit your previous choices weren't optimal. That can feel bad, like a hit to your status or self-image.
Okay, so improvement offers can trigger fear and regret. Why do new opportunities work better?
Several reasons. First, there's the excitement of new discovery. People like being early adopters, sharing something novel. It can actually increase their status.
The opposite effect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Second, no pain of disconnect. You're not fixing the old thing, you're moving to something totally fresh. No need to admit past mistakes.
Less baggage.
Right. Plus, it offers dream replacement, a whole new vision, and it taps into that greener pastures feeling, moving towards something exciting, instead of trying to patch up something that feels broken.
So frame your expertise as a whole new way, not just a tweak. How do you actually position that?
He talks about two main ways, opportunity switching and opportunity stacking.
Opportunity switching, or like changing lanes.
Kind of. It's taking people out of their current vehicle, like, say, the Atkins diet, and moving them into your new vehicle, maybe paleo or your own unique diet niche. That's usually the first thing you sell them on.
Okay, get them into your new system, then what's opportunity stacking?
Once they've made the switch, future offers are positioned as add-ons or enhancements within your new opportunity. You're not trying to switch them again to something else entirely. You stack value within the system they've already bought into.
Build on the foundation you've created. Okay, now when you're just starting out with this new opportunity, what's the very first step? Write the book, create the course.
No. Brunson actually argues against writing the book first.
Really?
Right.
That seems like the classic expert move.
It is, but he thinks it's often premature. It takes a ton of time, and more importantly, he believes you need to earn the book by actually getting results for people first, refining your message through experience.
So you need proof of concept before you document it.
Exactly. He says if he'd written his big books when he first had the ideas, years earlier, they wouldn't have been nearly as good because he hadn't tested and refined them in the real world yet.
So if not writing a book, what should you do first?
Start with a beta group, your first small group of testers.
You charge them.
Often, no. The goal is to serve them, get them results, for free initially. You need to answer two questions for yourself. First, what's the specific result you want for them?
Okay, the outcome.
And second, what's the vehicle, the process, the steps you'll use to get them that result?
Be super clear on the what and the how. Does he give an example?
Yeah, he talks about helping the guys at Organifi, the supplement company. He just reached out, said he liked their stuff, and offered to help with their sales funnels for free, just to see if he could make a difference.
No strings attached?
Pretty much. He helped them tweak existing funnels and build a new one.
And how did that go?
Amazingly well. He said the new funnel started doing like 20, 30K a day. Huge impact on their business. That funnel apparently went on to make over $25 million.
Wow. So the free help paid off massively for them. What about for Brunson?
Well, the Organifi founder gave him this incredible video testimonial. Brunson didn't even ask for it. And that testimonial became a cornerstone for launching his own high-ticket coaching program later.
Ah, so the beta group results become your best marketing material.
Precisely. Prove your stuff works first by helping someone else succeed. Those results, those stories, that's what sells your future products or services. Get results before you ask for money. Critical first step.
Okay, beta group first. Then how do you start talking about this new opportunity to attract more people? Headlines and hooks.
Yep. He gets specific here. He offers an opportunity switch headline formula. How to get the result they want most without doing the thing they fear or hate most.
Simple formula. Give me an example.
Okay, for ClickFunnels, maybe. How to build a 7-figure funnel in under 30 minutes without needing tech skills or even having your own product yet.
Right, hits the big desire, 7 figures fast, and removes the big fears. Tech, no product.
Exactly. And he also talks about different types of curiosity hooks.
Like things like focusing on a little-known thing, or presenting the opposite of common advice, or claiming this changes everything, or even just revisiting the fundamentals because things got too complex.
Some different angles to create intrigue.
Yeah, like for weight loss. How to stop exercising and still lose weight through a little-known trick that puts your body into ketosis without giving up carbs. See how it creates questions.
Definitely. Makes you want to know the trick. Okay, so you have a hook. But how do you make sure you're offering what people actually want within that new opportunity?
That's where his Ask campaign comes in. Super simple idea, he says. Find a hot market, ask them what they want, then give it to them.
Sounds easy, but I guess the asking part is key.
Crucial. Because experts, Brunson warns, often assume they know best. And they can be totally wrong.
Does he have a story about that?
Yeah, with his overcomepornography.com site, they assumed their main audience was men struggling with it directly.
But it wasn't. Nope. When they actually asked, surveyed people, they found the vast majority were wives and mothers looking for help for their husbands or sons. Completely changed their marketing.
Wow. So how do you do the Ask campaign? Where do you find these people?
He suggests finding where they already hang out, online forums, Facebook groups related to your niche. But don't just jump in asking for survey responses.
Provide value first.
Yes. Be helpful, answer questions, share insights. Then, once you're seen as a contributor, you can post something like, "Hey everyone, I'm putting together some resources on your topic. What's your hashtag one biggest question about fad?" And link to a simple survey.
Just that one question. What's your hashtag one question?
That's the core of it. It gets right to their biggest pain point or confusion, essential for understanding what they really need from you.
Okay, understand the audience. Now, getting them to believe in your new opportunity, that seems like a big hurdle.
It is. And Brunson uses the analogy of the big domino.
Like dominoes falling.
Exactly. He says you don't need to knock down every single objection individually. If you can get them to believe one core thing, that single belief will knock down most of the other objections automatically.
The one belief that changes everything else.
Right. He calls it your one thing or your big domino statement. It's the single foundational belief you need your audience to fully buy into.
What was the big domino for ClickFunnels?
He states it as, if I can make people believe that funnels are the key to online business success and that funnels are only attainable through ClickFunnels, then all other objections and concerns become irrelevant and they have to give me money.
Bold, but clear. Identify the linchpin belief. Now, when communicating this, any pitfalls to avoid?
A huge one. Technobabble.
Meaning?
Using too much jargon, getting lost in the technical details. He quotes someone saying it's a major sales killer.
Because people tune out if they don't understand.
Or feel intimidated or just bored.
Yeah.
He stresses that people buy based on emotion first, then use logic to justify it later.
Right, the classic sales principle.
So think about when you've bought into a new idea. Was it because someone laid out all the logic perfectly? Or was it more of an emotional connection, an aha moment before you fully understood all the details?
Usually the aha moment comes first, yeah.
Exactly. So instead of trying to overwhelm people with logic and specs,
You need to connect emotionally. How?
storytelling. That's his big answer. Effective storytelling is how you create belief and those emotional epiphanies.
He talks about learning story structure, right, from Michael Hodge.
Yeah, he gives Hag a lot of credit for teaching him how to craft stories that lead the audience to the conclusion you want them to reach.
And it's based on the hero's two journeys.
That's the core concept. There's the outer journey, the journey of achievement, the goal the hero is trying to reach.
It's like finding the treasure, winning the race.
Right. But then there's the inner journey, the journey of transformation, how the hero changes internally. And often, that's the part the audience connects with most deeply.
Okay, so a good story has both. What are the basic building blocks?
A character people care about, a strong desire that drives them, and obstacles that seem impossible to overcome. Conflict is key.
He suggests boiling your own story down.
Yeah, into a plot statement. Who were you, the character? What did you want, desire? And what stood in your way? Conflict. He shares his potato gun plot statement as an example.
And then you flesh that out using the stages of the journey.
Right. Things like the new opportunity that starts it all, a change of plans that focuses the desire, the point of no return, a major setback where it looks like failure is certain, then the climax and resolution.
And how does this relate back to the big domino?
Your stories need to support that big domino. His potato gun story, for instance, ultimately leads to the epiphany that having a system, like a funnel, is crucial for selling anything online supporting the ClickFunnels big domino.
So stories aren't just for entertainment, they're tools to change beliefs.
Exactly. You use stories strategically to break false beliefs people have about MLMs, about weight loss, about whatever relates to your niche.
Okay, belief established through story. Now you need to make the actual offer. How do you structure that?
This is where the stack comes in. You need to move people from belief to action.
And the stack is about just listing features.
No, it's much more than that. It's about value stacking. Instead of just offering your core product, you bundle it with a whole bunch of other valuable things to make the perceived value skyrocket.
Pile on the value. What kinds of things go in the stack?
Okay, he lists several elements. You start with your core offer, the main thing.
Right.
Then element #2, the tools, things that help them implement it. Templates, software, checklists.
Practical aids.
Element #3, a tangible byproduct, maybe something physical, or a completed asset they get. Element #4, bonuses, extra training, resources that address related problems.
Keep adding value.
Element #5, the guarantee removes the risk, super important. And element #6, an exclusive bonus, something limited by time or quantity to create urgency. Scarcity.
You layer all these things together.
To make the total perceived value massive compared to the price. The goal is to make it feel like a complete no-brainer. He also mentions using trial closes during your presentation.
What are those?
Little questions to get small yes agreements along the way, like, does that make sense? Or can you see how this would help? Builds momentum towards the final yes.
Okay, lots of elements. Where do you put all this together? A sales page.
That's one place, but he focuses heavily on his perfect webinar model. It's a detailed framework for presenting your offer live or recorded.
And the whole webinar is focused on.
The one thing, getting them to believe your big domino. That's the laser focus.
How does the webinar flow?
You start by justifying their past failures and calming their fears. Make them feel understood. Then you set the stage, the ruler, he calls it, stating the goals, introducing the new opportunity, and the big domino.
Then the main teaching part.
Right. But it's not just teaching facts. It's about breaking their old false belief patterns and rebuilding new ones using your epiphany bridge stories. You show testimonials too. Social proof is vital.
Show it works for others.
Exactly. Then you transition smoothly to the offer, showing how they could get similar results by using what you've taught.
And then you reveal the stack.
Yes. Lay out each element of the stack, emphasizing its value and how it solves their problems. Handle objections proactively, then move to the close, using urgency and scarcity.
He has specific closing scripts too.
Yeah, like the I had two choices close, explaining why the price is what it is, and that you've got two choices close, framing it as inaction versus taking a risk-free chance, and always reinforce the guarantee.
And you just do this webinar once.
No, he's adamant about this. Run the same webinar consistently, weekly if possible, for at least a year. Like a hit Broadway show, you don't rewrite it every night. Repetition builds mastery and predictable results.
Okay, that makes sense for, say, online courses. What about higher-priced coaching or services?
Good question. For offers above a certain point, maybe around $300 up to $3,000 or more, he recommends adding an application step and a phone call.
An interview, basically.
Yeah. To qualify people, make sure they're a good fit. He has a simple 4-question close for these calls.
What are the questions?
1, where are you now? 2, where do you want to be? 3, what's stopping you? 4, do you want my help getting there?
Simple, but probably effective.
The key, he says, is mostly listening. Let them talk themselves into why they need your help.
Okay. Now, what if you don't have weeks to set up a perfect webinar? Can this stuff be used faster?
Absolutely. He shares a story about winning an affiliate contest by doing a quick Facebook Live.
Just impromptu.
Pretty much. He just followed the basic,
Yeah.
perfect webinar structure, told his epiphany bridge stories connecting to the offer, presented the stack clearly, and had a strong call to action.
And it worked?
Made over $250,000 in sales, apparently. So yeah, the core elements, story, stack, close, can be adapted quickly for social media too.
Okay, wow. So let's try and wrap this up. What are the biggest takeaways from this deep dive into expert secrets?
I think it really starts with that mindset shift from just learning for yourself to focusing on contributing to others. Then finding that very specific niche where you can make a difference.
Right, the niche within a niche.
Becoming that attractive character people want to follow, building that absolute certainty in your message, and definitely not being boring.
Don't be boring. And offering a new opportunity, not just an improvement.
Crucial point. Building your tribe with a shared identity. Using stories, those epiphany bridges, to change beliefs emotionally, not just logically.
And finally, structuring your offer with the stack to make it irresistible.
Exactly. Those seem like the core pillars.
And it really comes back to empowering the listener, doesn't it? Recognizing the value in what you already know.
Totally. Brunson's whole message is that your existing knowledge, your experiences, they can be leveraged to help people and build something significant. Don't underestimate it.
So a final thought to leave everyone with, based on all this.
Okay, how about this? What is the single biggest false belief holding your ideal audience back right now? The main thing, stopping them from getting what they want. And linked to that, what is the core new opportunity you could uniquely offer them that would shatter that false belief?
So identify the core obstacle and frame your solution as the breakthrough.
Yeah, mulling over those two questions, that might just be the key to unlocking your own expert secrets and the impact you could have.